How so? This is Gal Gimel Beit. How so? A cistern in a courtyard into which three lugim of shuvin fell is forever in its disqualified state until the full amount of its original contents have flow out, plus a little more, until he sets up in the courtyard a mikvah of 40 saw, and the upper waters become tahor by the lower ones. If Eliezer ben Azariah declares it invalid unless he closes it up. If a cistern is full of drawn water and a canal flows into it, and out of it, it is forever in its disqualified state until it is calculated that three lugim of the former water do not remain. If two vessels empty into a mikvah, one of them a log and a half, and the other also a log and a half, or if one wrings out his garments and the water pours into the mikvah from many places, or if one pours out of a perforated cup and the water pours into the mikvah from many places, Rabbi Akiva declares it's still valid and the sages disqualify it. Rabbi Akiva said they did not say if vessel's empty, but if the vessel empties. They said to him, they said neither one nor the other, but a mikveh into which three logam of shuvin fell. The waters from one vessel, from two or three combine, but from four they do not combine. Similarly, regarding a Bakari who was sick and 9 kabim of water fell over him, or a person who was tahor and 3 lugam of drawn water fell over his head, and the greater part of his body, the waters from one vessel were 2, but from 3 combined, but from 4 they do not combine. And when are these words said? When the second vessel started emptying before the first one ceased. And then when are these words said? When he had no intention to increase the mikvah, but if he intended to increase it, in addition of even one kortav of a time, all year long combined to these lugam. Three lugam.
Okay. All right. Perek Daled. Hamaniach kelim tachas atzinor. Okay, so here's a situation. You've got a drain pipe coming down off the roof, and it's got a path going down to the mikveh, but a guy left a little pot or something inside at the bottom of the drain pipe. Okay, why does the guy leave a pot at the bottom of the drain pipe? Mistama, because he wants to catch the water. Okay, so now all the water, it rained, the water flowed down through the drain pipe and into the pot, as you would expect, and it overflowed and went on into the mikveh. Now, no human intervened over here, but it went through a pot in order to get into the mikveh. Okay, so is that called drawn water? Doesn't matter whether they're big kelim, echad kelim ketanim, or small kelim. Afilu clay glalim, even if they're really cheap and throwaway things like dung vessels, clay avanim, or stone vessels that are not susceptible to tumah, clay adama, or unbaked clay vessels. Poslim is hamikvah. This causes the mikveh to become pasul because it is called mayim she'ovim. There's only one reason why he put it at the bottom of the drain pipe. It was deliberate. He wanted to catch water, therefore it's called mayim she'ovim. It doesn't matter if he deliberately put them there, or if he put them there and then the rain clouds dispersed and he forgot about them over there, and then the rain clouds came back again. Then it doesn't matter. He put them there in the first place trying to catch water, and therefore it is considered mayim she'ovim divrei beis Shammai. Okay, Beis Hillel metarin b'shocheach. Beis Hillel say not so much if you first put the kelim there when he saw rain clouds gathering, and then it didn't rain. Okay, and then he forgot that he'd left them there, and then the rain clouds came again, and it rained again. And now it's rained. In this case, as Hillel say, no, that's considered like as if it was there by accident, and it's and the water is not called mayim she'ovim, and the mikvah is still kosher. Amar Rabbi Meir, nimnu v'rabu beis Shammai el beis Hillel. This is one of these cases where remember there was that case in the attic of somebody or other, and I can't remember his name, when they posted guards outside the attic. They had a quorum, and they saw that in the Beis Shammai guys saw that they had the majority, and they put a guard outside the door to make sure that the Beis Hillel guys didn't come in, and they voted on a whole bunch of things and paskin halacha, and this is one of them where they paskin the halacha that this case is called mayim she'ovim. But everyone agrees that if he stam left the kalim in the middle of the chatzer and it rained and they overflowed and filled and went into the mikveh, that's not called Maim Shovin. Because he putting, if you want your kalim to fill up with water, you don't put them in the middle of the courtyard. You put them under the drain pipe.
Right.
Okay. Sheu tahor. Everyone agrees that that's tahor. Amar Rabbi Yossi adayin machlokis bimkoma omedis. Rabbi Yossi disagrees with Rabbi Meir. He says that this is not one of the things that they voted on. We don't have a clear psak on it. It's still a machlokis beis Hillel and beis Shammai, and therefore, if you follow that through, then according to Rabbi Yossi, if the machlokis is still in its place, then we're going to follow our standard principle that beis Hillel is the halacha.
Right.
Okay. Base. So if somebody puts a board under the drain pipe,
right,
presumably to wash it, something like that. He wanted to get running water over it to wash it down. Now this all depends on whether the board has got a lip, because if it's got a lip, then it's a kli, and it could be, and therefore the water that it caught is considered maim she'uvin. Okay, poselis is a mikvah. Bim lav, ain't poselis is a mikvah. If it's just a flat board that he left under the pipe to clean it, it's not called the kli. It wasn't ever drawn, and therefore the mikvah is fine.
Having a rim makes it makabel tuma. Having a rim makes makabel tuma. Then
that's correct. It also makes it.
That's why it's qualified. Right.
But now, if you put it at an angle, zakafa lidoach, if you stood it upright or at an angle in order to rinse it out, then even if it's got a rim, then that's not that won't be possible. We're only talking about if you put it flat underneath the tzinor with a rim, because that's how it would contain water. But if he puts it at an angle, it's not going to contain any significant amount of water. He clearly put it there just to rinse, and it's not to fill up. Okay, Gimel hachotet batzinor lekabel tzoros. Okay, so you've got I guess if you think about ancient plumbing, it would have been done with baked clay, right? You'd have these pipes of sort of like roof tiles, ceramic or something like that,
right.
Or earthenware, baked earthenware. But what he did with this pipe, so he's got a pipe that's channeling water off his roof or something like that, and he made a hollow in it. Why? The kabel tzoros, to catch stones. Let's say he's got I'm not sure why he would have, whatever the situation is, he's got a problem with stones coming down and clogging up his pipes. So he puts a little trap to catch the stones. B'shel eitz kol shehu or b'shel cheres reviz. If the pipe is made out of wood, then any amount that he hollows it out is going to make it into a kli and cause maim shovin. If it's cheres, then a revius. If the hollow that he creates will hold a revius of liquid, then it becomes a kli, and water that passes through there is called maim shovin. Rabbi Yossi Omer af b'shel cheres kol shehu. He says no, there's no difference. It's a kol shehu with both of them. Lo amru revius ele b'shivrei kli cheres. He says to the Tanakama, you're getting it confused. The revius that we're talking about with Klei Cheres is if a Kli Cheres, if an original Kli Cheres, when we learned this in Kalim, gets broken, and now you've got a piece of the side that's curved. If that holds a revius, then it can still be Makabel Tumah. But that's not what we're talking about over here. Here we're talking about is it a Kli in terms of causing Maim She'uvin, and in that is a Kol Shehu. And the halacha does not follow Rabbi Yossi. We still stick with the Tanakama there. Now, what happens if the stones, if it now does catch the stones, okay, and you've got a bunch of stones filling up that gap. Nonetheless, poslim is a mikveh. It's still the water is going to flow in between all the stones and go through that receptacle in order to get through to the mikveh. So that receptacle still is considered maim she'uvin. Yarad lesocho afbar v'nichbash. Now, what happens if it was dirt? If it fills up with sand and mud and it clogs up the receptacle? kosher. Now the receptacle is full and no longer accepts water, and therefore it's water flowing straight over it, and it does not invalidate the mikveh. Silon she'utsar mikan mikan. Now, what happens if you've got a pipe that's narrow on the ends, v'rachav mina emtza, and it's wider in the middle? Ein a posel. That does not cause a psul. Why? Because it's not made to contain to contain extra water. Why would you design a pipe like that? They say it's to increase the pressure in the Gati explains that the reason why it's widened like that is that it should flow out strongly. I'm not sure why widening it in the middle makes it flow stronger, because if you know, I'm just thinking of the normal fluid dynamics. If it comes in through a narrow gap and goes out through a narrow gap, it's going to come through at the same rate. So I'm not sure how that design works. But anyway, that's the psak of the Mishnah. Okay.
All right.
Back to Taharos. Yud Zayan.
Yud Zayin. Regarding one who was emptying a pit and a sheretz was found in the first barrel, all the barrels are tummy. If it was found in the last barrel, the barrel is tummy and all the others are tahor. When is this? When he empties the pit using each barrel. But if he empties the pit with a dipper, if a sheretz was found in one of the barrels, that one alone is tummy. When is this? When he checks the barrels but does not cover them, or he covers them but does not check them. But if he checks the barrels and he covers them, and a sheretz was found in a barrel, everything is tummy. If the sheretz was found in the pit, everything is tummy, and if it was found in a ladle, everything is tummy. The section between the rounds and the grapeskins is a public domain. This section of the vineyard that is in front of the harvesters is a private domain. That which is behind the harvesters is the public domain. When is this? When the public enters from this opening and leaves from that opening. Vessels of the olive press and of the wine press, such as the mesh basket, when they are made of wood, he scours them. They are suitable to be made tahor. And when they are made of jemmy, he ages them for a full 12 months, or scalds them in boiling water. Yoshi says he put them in the rapids of a river, it suffices. Okay.
Okay, and let's do one Mishnah again from the beginning of Mikvaos.
All right, but yesterday you said the Horos. You said the Horos yesterday.
Yeah, we are going to start the Horus again today.
Oh, but we're still doing one in Mikvaos again. Oh.
Yeah, so starting with Mikvaos.
Okay. There are 6 grades of Mikvaos, each higher than the other. The first grade is water and water hold. The second Tame drank from it, and then a Tahar drank from it, he becomes Tame. If a Tame person drank from it, and then one drew from it into a Tahor vessel, it becomes Tame. If a Tame person drank from it, and then a loaf of Truma fell into it, it is rinsed. If he rinsed it, it becomes Tame. If he did not rinse, it remains Tahor.
Okay. All right, now back to the beginning of Taharos. Aleph Aleph.
There are 13 things concerning the carcass of a kosher bird. It needs intention. It does not need preparation. If it conveys the eggs of foods in the volume of an egg. The volume of an olive conveys tumor in the esophagus. Someone who eats it needs the setting of the sun. One who is liable on its account for entering the temple. Tumor is burned on its Tumor is burned. I missed the page here. Tumor is burned on its account. Someone who eats a lamb severed from it while it's alive receives 40 lashes. And its slaughtering and Malika renders its terefa to be tahor. These are the words of Reb Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says these do not render it tahor. Rabbi Yossi says in slaughtering renders it tahor, but it's not Malika. Okay. The feathers and the down acquire tumor and convey tumor, but they do not combine. Rabbi Yishmael says the small feathers combine, the beak and the claws acquire tumor and convey tumor and combine. Rabbi Yossi says even the tips of the wings and the tips of the tail combine, since these are left on fattened birds. The carcass of a non-kosher bird needs attention and preparation. It conveys the tumor of foods in the volume of an egg. Half a loaf disqualifies a person. It does not have the law of the volume of an olive in the esophagus. Someone who eats it does not need the setting of the sun, and one who is liable on its account for entering the temple, but tumor is burned on its account. Someone who eats a limb severed from it while it's alive does not receive 40 lashes, and its slaughter does not render it tahor. The large feathers and the small feathers acquire tumor and convey tumor and combine, and the beak and the claws acquire tumor, convey tumor, and combine.
Okay. Next up, oholos.
Okay, your alphabet. If a person is split, and I'm sorry, person. If a particle is split and tumor is on one side, utensils on the other side remain tahor. If a person places a foot or a reed on top of the pit split, or he combines, or it he or it combines the tumor. If a person places a reed on the ground, it does not cause tumor to spread unless it is a handbreadth above the ground. A thick garment and a thick bead only spread tumor when they are a handbreadth above the ground. If two garments are folded on top of the other, tumor only spreads when the upper one is at least a handbreadth above the ground. If a person is lying there, Beis Shammai says he does not spread tumor, whereas Beis Hillel says a person is hollow and a part of his body that is above spreads tumor. If someone was looking down from the window and formed an ohel over a core of bearers, Beis Shammai says he does not spread tumor, whereas the Beis Hillel says he does spread tumor. They agree that if he's dressed or if he is dressed or two people are on the top of the other, they spread tumor.
Okay.
And base hay.
Yes,
No,
yeah.
that's. If one slaughters as a sacrifice to one who slaughters as a sacrifice to the mountains, as a sacrifice to hills, as a sacrifice to seas, as a sacrifice to rivers, as a sacrifice to deserts, the slaughter is invalid. If two hold a knife and slaughter one, slaughterers as a sacrifice to one of these things, and one slaughters for a legitimate purpose, their slaughtering is invalid. We may slaughter neither into seas, nor into rivers, nor into vessels, but one may slaughter into a pool of water or a boat on top of vessels. We may not slaughter into a pit under any circumstances, but one may make a pit in his house in order that the blood shall flow into it. But he may not do so on the street, so he does not have lend support to the practices of the sectarians. One who slaughters an animal for the designation of an old offering, a shlomit offering, a guilt offering in case of a doubt, a Pesach offering, or Thanksgiving offering, the slaughtering is invalid. But Shimon declares it valid. If two hold a knife and slaughter one for one of these designations, or one for legitimate purposes, their slaughter is invalid. If one slaughters an animal for the designation of a sin offering, a definite guilt offering, or firstborn, a firstborn, an animal type, or substitutions, the slaughter is valid. This is the general rule. Whatever can be brought as a vow or a donative offering, if one slaughters for a designation, it is prohibited. Now, whatever cannot be brought as a vow for donative offering, if one slaughters for a designation, it is valid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nazir.
Above you. If he shaved his head following the sacrifice and it was found to be invalid, his shaving is invalid and his sacrifice does not count for him. If he shaved for the sin offering, which is slaughtered not for a designated purpose, and then he brought his offerings for the designated purpose, his shaving is invalid and his sacrifices do not count for him. If he shaved after the burnt offering, after the peace offering, which was slaughtered not for the designated purpose, but he brought his offerings for the designated purpose, his shaving is invalid and his sacrifices do not count for him. If Shimon says the sacrifice does not count for him, but the other sacrifices do count for him, and if he's shaved after all three, or one of them was found to be invalid, the shaving is valid, and he brings the other sacrifices. Someone for whom one of the bloods has been thrown, and then he became tummy, Rebbe Eliezer says he forfeits all. But the commentator should bring the rest of his offerings to become tahor, and they said to him, it happened with Miriam the Chamadite, that one of her bloods had been thrown for her, and they came and told her about her daughter who was in danger. She went and found that she had died, and the Sage said she should bring the rest of the offerings and become tahor. A Kohen Gadol and a Nazir may not become tummy from contact with their relatives, but they may become tummy with an abandoned corpse. But if they were traveling on the way and they found an abandoned corpse, as Eliezer says, the Kohen Gadol should become tummy, but the Nazir should not become tummy. And the sages say the Nazir should become tummy, but the Kohen Gadol should not become tummy. Eliezer said to them, the Kohen becomes tummy, but since he does not bring a sacrifice for his tumah, but the Nazir should not become tummy, since he brings a sacrifice for his tumah. They said to him, the Nazir should become tummy, since the sanctity is not everlasting, but the Kohen should not become tummy, and his money and his sanctity is everlasting. And some bring Mikorim and recite, but some do not recite, and some do not bring. These
It's
do not.
base.
We did off yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
For what reason does he not bring? Because it is written, the first of the firstborns of your land, and only if all their growth is from your land. Tenants, leases, sikaron, and a robber do not bring for the same reason, so it is written, the first of the firstborns of your land. One does not bring corn from other than the seven species, not from the dates of the hills, or the fruits of the valleys, or from the oil olives, which are not the choicest. One does not bring a corn before the Shavuos festival. The man of the Mount Tibion brought their corn before the Shavuos festival, and did not bring these from them because of what is written. And the feast of harvest, the first of your labors, shall be sown in your field. These do not recite. The proselyte brings but does not recite because he cannot say which the Lord swore to our fathers to give us. But if his mother was an Israelite, he brings and recites. When he prays privately, he says, the God of our fathers of Israel. When he's in the synagogue, he says, the God of your fathers. But his brother was an Israelite, he says, the God of our fathers.
Okay. So,
Great, great.
okay.
Have a terrific day. I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Shem. Thank you. Bye.